Today we're about to hit the gas on a geopolitical drama that's wrapped in steel and sovereignty. And we're talking $200 billion in gold. Germany and Italy are demanding their precious bullion back from the New York Federal Reserve, sparking a growing geopolitical ripple that comes at a time when tensions are climbing under Trump's trade pressures and tariff rhetoric. This is not just a gold story. It's a matter of trust, power, and global finance. So buckle up as we dive into the developments shaking the foundation of international finance. Legacy vaults and rising trust issues. Let's start with the history behind the vaults. Since World War II, Germany and Italy have stored much of their gold in the vaults of the New York Fed, a legacy of the Bretton Woods system in Cold War-era trust in U.S. financial stability. For decades, the safekeeping of their gold was a routine part of financial diplomacy. Germany alone keeps a staggering 3,352 tons of gold in these vaults, while Italy has about 2,452 tons, with 43% of it still held in New York. But here's where things start to shift. With Trump's resurgence and his sharp criticisms of the Federal Reserve's independence, many are now questioning whether the U.S. can still be trusted to safeguard these foreign assets. The Taxpayer Federation in Germany warns that Trump's influence could potentially compromise the safety of foreign gold holdings, a sentiment echoed by CDU's Markus Ferber, who calls the U.S. a less reliable partner than it once was. The shift in sentiment has escalated from fringe talk, once confined to the Alternative for Germany, AfD, and gold enthusiasts, into mainstream conversations. Public broadcasters ZDF and ARD are now openly questioning why Germany still trusts the U.S. to safeguard its wealth. In response, the Bundesbank, Germany's central bank, maintains that routine audits cover 13% of the U.S.-held gold and assures that they are prepared to pivot if risks escalate. However, global trends point to a decrease in trust for offshore reserves. A full 95% of central banks expect their gold holdings to rise, with 59% planning to keep more gold within their borders, a significant increase from 2024 levels. In short, trust in offshore vaults is eroding. What was once a stable and trusted arrangement is now under scrutiny, particularly as geopolitical tensions rise. Political firestorm in Berlin and Rome. This issue is no longer just a technical or economic concern. Gold repatriation has transformed into a political flashpoint. In Germany, the AfD has long championed gold as a symbol of sovereignty, with leaders like Alice Vital and Peter Berenguer advocating for physical control of the country's bullion, especially during times of international distress. But now, even voices from the left are joining the chorus. BMW's Fabio De Masi argues that bringing gold back home could serve as a safeguard against growing global instability. Italy is feeling the heat as well. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who once promised to repatriate Italy's gold in 2019, has carefully balanced her nationalist ideals with the realities of U.S. diplomacy since assuming power. Critics like Enrico Grassini warn that keeping 43% of Italy's gold in the U.S. during Trump's presidency is a dangerous gamble. In Germany, mainstream conservatives within the CDU, including Markus Ferber, are framing gold repatriation as a strategic bargaining chip in trade disputes with the U.S. around critical industries like steel and automobiles. The Taxpayers Association has intensified the issue, pushing for parliamentary debates and central bank hearings. Even Peter Gauweiler, a veteran CDU member, is questioning the safety of offshore storage. This debate is no longer just economic. It is deeply political, weaving together sovereignty, national security, and trade dynamics in a volatile mix. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way. Moving bullion is no Sunday drive. Repatriating 1,930 tons of gold, valued at $245 billion, isn't a simple task. It's a massive logistical operation. Germany has done it before, moving 674 tons between 2013 and 2017 at a cost of 7 million euros, using NATO's military aircraft under tight coordination. This past mission involved nighttime flights, secure military corridors, and vault-to-vault handoffs. The same playbook would be used again, but on a much larger scale. Germany and Italy are eyeing a grand-scale airlift, with weekly 50-ton shipments alternating between Frankfurt and Rome, all under NATO supervision. The plan is to fly the gold out of New York over the course of 8 to 10 weeks, using IL-76 or C-17 aircraft. But before these flights can take off, there's a critical hurdle: political approval. Germany's Bundesbank officials are treading lightly, calling the New York vaults trustworthy, while quietly updating their audit protocols. Any decision to move the gold would have to align with broader government strategies, including diplomatic negotiations, military coordination, and financial considerations. Italy would need to approve the budget for such an operation, and coordination with the military would be essential. The risk here is real. A visible repatriation mission could sour relations with Washington, especially under Trump's leadership. But if executed, this move could drain $245 billion worth of gold from the U.S., shaking up international financial markets. Shockwaves in the system: liquidity, rates, and fallout. If the gold actually moves, the financial consequences will be felt immediately. A massive withdrawal of bullion would create significant liquidity issues, potentially pushing the Federal Reserve's reverse repo balances up by $20 billion in a single week. The impact would be felt across short-term markets, with Treasury yields potentially rising by 10 basis points and mortgage rates climbing as well. Selling $18 billion in short-dated U.S. Treasury securities to finance the move could cause yields to rise by an additional 5 to 6 basis points, further inflating federal borrowing costs. For U.S. households, a 6.62% mortgage rate could jump by just 0.25%, which means an extra $30 per month on a $350,000 mortgage. This increase would put a strain on both the housing market and in consumer spending, potentially slashing vehicle sales by 500,000 units and risking thousands of auto jobs. Global reserve shift: is the dollar losing its crown? Beyond the immediate impact on U.S. markets, gold repatriation signals a broader shift in global finance. By the end of 2024, gold represented over 20% of global central bank reserves, almost double its share in 2000. If Germany, Italy, and other Eurozone nations repatriate more gold, this could rise to 25% by 2028, further weakening demand for U.S. Treasury securities and, consequently, the dollar's dominance in global finance. The consequences are profound. A weakened dollar would make it more difficult for the U.S. to finance its deficits, driving up borrowing costs and potentially pushing up interest rates to levels that would squeeze U.S. consumers. Meanwhile, foreign investors may look to gold as a safer alternative to the dollar, further eroding its position as the world's dominant reserve currency. Final drive: dollar at the crossroads. Germany and Italy's move to repatriate their gold is more than just a logistical challenge. It's a signal of eroding trust in U.S. financial stewardship. In the short term, markets will feel liquidity shocks, rising yields, and increased consumer strain. But in the long term, this could mark the beginning of a global financial power shift, with gold playing a central role. The era of uncontested dollar dominance may soon be over. So gearheads, what do you think? Will other nations follow Germany and Italy's lead and repatriate their gold? How will rising borrowing costs, particularly in mortgages and auto loans, reshape life in the U.S.? And do you think gold is regaining relevance in modern finance, or is this just political posturing? If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way.